The Baltimore Ravens come into this year with another strong roster in a conference with several star-studded quarterbacks. The AFC North is known to have a lot of drama, especially with the Browns quarterback situation and the Bengals having a lackluster defense with poor contract negotiations, and the Steelers essentially putting all their eggs into the basket of the 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers. Given the circumstances in their own division and in the AFC, it's now or never for the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens didn't add a ton of talent this offseason, but they did fill in some depth to the wide receiving room, bringing in DeAndre Hopkins, who is still chasing a championship to culminate his Hall of Fame career. And the secondary, while being a time suspect last year, they got bolstered by the signing of Jair Alexander from the Green Bay Packers. And he's been a corner that's been bothered by injuries for the last 2 seasons, only suiting up for 14 out of 34 possible games. But if Jair can stay healthy, the Ravens have added another stud cornerback to integrate into their retooled secondary, which already includes first-rounder Malachi Starks and veterans like Kyle Hamilton and Marlon Humphrey. Last year, the defense was getting torched during the first 10 weeks of the season. They allowed 253 points, but after making a few adjustments, they finished the regular season quite strong, only allowing 108 points during the remaining 7 games. Their pass rush between Kyle Van Noy, Adafe Owe, and Nnamdi Madubuike are not conventional, but still very effective. But adding rookie Mike Green in the second round, which was quite a steal considering his talent, but off-the-field issues did tank his draft stock somewhat. But I really like Mike Green from a talent perspective being added into this Baltimore Ravens defensive line. And with the defense as talented as this, they have the ability to generate more turnovers compared to last year when they only forced 17. Flipping into the offense, the Ravens' top priority this offseason was re-signing Ronnie Stanley, which they were thankfully able to do so, bringing him back on a 3-year, $60 million deal. Although the Ravens aren't quite a passing team, my concerns still lie with the lack of weapons outside of Zay Flowers and Mark Andrews. Zay is a slippery receiver in the open field and is always a threat to take it all the way whenever he touches the ball. Unfortunately for Zay, he got injured in the regular season finale and had to miss the postseason entirely, including that divisional round matchup against the Buffalo Bills. Mark Andrews did get off to a slow start in 2024, but then picked it up late and became a very productive red zone target for Lamar Jackson per usual. But age is certainly catching up to Mark Andrews, and I feel that the Ravens offense won't be able to survive another slow start from their tight end, and this could be the window that could open up more opportunities for Isaiah Likely, who could be the heir apparent tight end for Baltimore if they so choose. Of course, everything in the Ravens offense is centered around 2-time MVP Lamar Jackson. Lamar once again will be faced with the same question: can he get it done in the postseason? Lamar Jackson is just 1-3 in the divisional round, and I think anything short of the AFC Championship game will be a disappointment this year. I do think Lamar does have what it takes to get it done and win a championship with the Baltimore Ravens, but the only concerns that I have is the turnovers and the play calling. The Ravens have some very talented teams, especially in the past 2 seasons. In 2023, they had a top offense and defense, but failed to get past the Kansas City Chiefs by shooting themselves in the foot with countless turnovers and poorly timed penalties that the Chiefs took advantage en route to going back-to-back in Super Bowl 58. In 2024, the Ravens had 3 turnovers compared to 0 against the Buffalo Bills, and also had many problems with penalties and mistakes, most notably the Mark Andrews drop on what would be a game-tying 2-point conversion, and Lamar Jackson's fumble when mishandling a snap. Play calling has also got to be better for the Baltimore Ravens with Todd Monk. When they brought in Derrick Henry, it made sense that they would continue to be a run-first team. Postseason, they had a kind of a mixed bag with King Henry. In the wildcard round against the Pittsburgh Steelers, Derrick Henry had 26 carries. But in the divisional round, his carries were brought down to just 16. It's really strange because the conditions favored a heavy dose of a running attack because the Northeast was hit with a lot of snow during the divisional round last season. And despite getting limited carries, especially in the postseason's divisional round matchup against the Buffalo Bills, King Henry still averaged over 5 yards per carry, and it doesn't really make sense why there was a sudden change in the game plan. For whatever reason, we've seen in the past few postseasons where the Ravens get behind that whoever is the play caller decides to try and showcase Lamar's arm rather than the strengths of the Ravens, which is their running game. And it's become somewhat of an issue because the more Lamar does throw, it does pose some problems just due to the lack of receiving weapons at their disposal. For whatever reason, we're seeing these play callers ignore some of the greatest combinations we've ever seen in the backfield between Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, who provide a lethal mixture of speed and strength. But if Todd Monken can stick with the running game and focus on wearing down their opponents, there's hardly any defense that could stop this Ravens offense. Of course, Baltimore has to stay healthy, but if they do keep the mistakes to a minimum and stick to their strengths, this is a Super Bowl team. They have more than the Kansas City Chiefs, they have more than the Buffalo Bills, both who I think would be worthy adversaries against the Ravens in the postseason and are their biggest competition this season. It's very likely that the Ravens will have to beat one, if not both, to win the AFC. And this time, I do project that the Ravens will break through, and my prediction is that the Ravens will earn the AFC's top seed and beat the Chiefs and Bills on their way to the Super Bowl this year.